Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi Yahya.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Alhamdulillah, we're studying Arabic grammar, the Nahw primer. We've completed the first two lessons, moving on to lesson 3 of the book, which discusses again a few basic concepts of Arabic grammar before we go deeper in the more advanced lessons. In brief, lesson 3 is regarding the names given to each type of word grammatically. So in the previous lesson, we learned that an utterance, which we'll call love, it can be mawdu or muhmal. Mawdu or muhmal. So it can be meaningful mawdu or meaningless muhmal. Then we learned that meaningful utterances can be single words, which are kalima, or they are murakkab, which is kalam. So murakkab, which is kalam. So murakkab, which we also call kalam. And by the way, kalima is also called mufrad, single words. Now in this lesson, we're going to focus more on the single words and the type of single words, which is ism or ism, fa'al, and harf. Ism, fa'al, and harf. So in this lesson, we're focusing on ism, fa'al, and harf. Now in regards to ism, fa'al, and harf, so ism is a noun, fa'al is a verb, and harf is what we call a particle. Without going too deep, because you might ask, oh, what's a particle? What's not a particle? Well, don't worry about all that right now. Naturally, these things will fall in place once you study more and more Arabic. Naturally it'll come. Nobody later in Arabic, even 6 months down the line in the Arabic journey, will still not understand ism, fa'al, harf. So don't overthink. Although we will try our best to understand all of it, and if not all, 90% of ism, fa'al, harf within this lesson. So what is ism? Ism are nouns. So just like in English, nouns, so name of a person, name of a place, name of basically anything. So for example, a door, that's a noun. Yahya, a name of a person, that's a noun. And generally the way we understand nouns is they're not limited with time, or they are not governed by any time. You know, when I said door, is door linked with past time, present time, or future time, or has it got no connection with time?
No connection with time.
So that's generally a sign. The two things that we look out for in a noun, it's a name. It's a name of something. Name of a person, name of a thing. So door is a name of a thing. And it's not linked with time. Number 2, fa'al, verb. Verb, again, it has a meaning, but it's limited with time. For example, he wrote. So writing is present time. Will write is in the future. He wrote is in the past. So that's a word which has a meaning. It's about an action that happened in a certain time, past, present, or future. So in simple words, verbs are actions which are connected to time. Actions which are connected to time. That's the key part. So you can write those notes around there as well if you want, but really it's there in the English. So it's actions and it's linked with time. Limited just means it's linked with time. So that's ism and fa'al. I think that's straightforward. So where does harf, number 3, where does harf, particles, fall in this? Well, harf and particle is probably the more difficult one to understand at this stage, although it becomes very straightforward late in your Arabic journey. But harf, I normally say harf is just there to join words together. Like in English, for example, if I said Yahya is a tall man. Now, man, tall, Yahya, these are nouns. These are meaningful words, not linked with time, but they have a proper, full constructive meaning behind it. Now, words like an, is, especially I in this case, that's just there to connect or formulate a sentence. Obviously, it has a meaning. That's why it's mawdu. That's why it even comes, mawdu was anything which has a meaning. And kalima, and hence ism fa'il harf. So obviously, all of ism fa'il harf will have a meaning. So harf has a meaning, but it's such a word that when it's alone, it doesn't really have any major impact. You can't just say in the middle of random parts. It won't make sense. Whereas I can say Yahya, because if somebody said a sentence, asked, who was that student who paid attention? And I just replied, Yahya, a noun. That works. Whereas huruf, or these joining words, are such that they just can't work themselves. The whole point of them is they join things together. They join nouns together with other nouns, or nouns together with verbs, for example. So they join between two nouns or between a verb and a noun. And another sign of them is they're usually one or two letters. So in Arabic, they're usually one or two letters. It can be three as well, by the way. But generally, an easy guess would be when it's one or two letters, it's a harf. Is that clear, Yahya?
Ji, that's clear.
So let's just look at one Arabic example, which is here. Dakhala Muhammad. Muhammad entered. Dakhala means entered. So what do you think entered is? Ism, fa'il, or harf?
A fi'l, a
A
verb.
fa'il, because it's an action, entered. Muhammad, that's the name of a person. So,
Be an ism.
ism. Fi, in the, Muhammad entered in the masjid. Fi is a
It's a harf, a connecting.
It's just connecting Muhammad to the masjid. And masjid is a
Ism.
ism. Masjid, place of worship, is a ism. So the role of that fi was simply to connect this Muhammad to the masjid. That Muhammad is within the masjid. So he was linking Muhammad to the masjid. That's what the point and the purpose of that fi was there. So is that clear, Yahya?
Ji, that's clear.
Okay, before we go into the activity, if you can briefly just recap for me the lesson.
Yeah. So a kalima, which we learned in the last lesson, or a word, we learned in this lesson, there's three types of them. The first one is an ism, which in English is translated to a noun. So what we usually class as a noun, so a place or a person or a thing. And the best way to tell if something is a noun or not is to do with time. So a noun, ism, is not limited to time. And this is different to a fi'l, which is a verb, an action. So anything someone does. It's the way that you can tell it's a fi'l is that it's linked to time. So it's either past, present, or future. And then the third one we learn is a harf. A harf, the best way, like for now that we learn what a harf is, or to tell what a harf is, it's like it's a connecting word. So on the side there's the example of Yahya is a tall man. So there is and they don't really mean anything in and of itself. They just connect Yahya to tall and man. And so in the same way, a harf is that connecting word, and we translate it usually to particle.
Very good. Now let's go into some questions so we understand, we can embed our learning. So let's go into the activity. Now the first one, fataha, he opened. So focusing on the Arabic word, fataha, he opened. So Yahya, do you think that's a ism, fa'il, or harf? With reason.
I think it's a fi'l because it's
That's correct. Yep, because
it's an action. So an action we know is a verb.
it's
And
an
it's also,
action. And also if you can let me know the tense of it.
yeah, it's in the past tense.
So past tense. Okay, next, number two, shy. Shy is the Arabic word for tea. Tea.
An ism.
That's an ism. So tea. So have you drank some tea today? So tea is an ism. It's a noun. It's a name of a thing. So it's a name of something. Obviously, different cultures make tea differently. But for example, water and milk mixed together with sugar or without sugar, etc. So basically, it's a name of a thing. Okay, now, if we can all pause at this stage, complete the rest of the exercise or the activity. And once you've completed it, then inshallah, if you can listen to the answers that me and Yahya share, inshallah. Okay, moving on, Yahya. Number 3, hatif, phone. Would you say that's an ism, fa'il, or harf?
An ism.
That's correct. And why would it be an ism?
Because it's a noun and there's no tense.
So it's a noun, or it's a name of a thing, and there's no tense. Number 4 is done for us, sayyara, car. It's an ism because, again, it's a name of a thing, hence a noun. Number 5, min, from. So, for example, I travel from Makkah to Medina. So, I travel from Makkah to Medina. So, min means from. Yep. Is that ism, fa'il, or harf?
A harf.
That's correct. Very good. So, it's a harf. And why?
Because it's a connecting word.
So, it's the example I gave. I travel from Makkah to Medina. So, it's connecting word. It connects from one place to another, for example. Or you could even say at this stage of your Nahw journey, you can even just say it's a 2-letter word. It's actually better to say what you said is a connective word. But I'm saying at this stage of our grammar journey, at this early stage, we can just say it's a 2-letter word. And that's perfectly fine. Over time, we'll learn more depth in how we'll be able to identify ism, fa'il, harf as well. Okay. Number 6, yansuru. He is helping. Yep.
Fi'al.
Yep.
Because it's an action and it's in the present.
Yeah, very good. Action and its present verb, present tense. Okay, then maktab, desk.
An ism.
That's an ism.
Because
And the reason?
it's a thing. It's a thing of it's an object.
It's a name of a thing, hence a noun, no link with time, etc. And a final one, wa, means and. So Yahya and Yusuf entered the room. Yahya and Yusuf entered the room. So that wow, which is and in English, what is that?
A harf.
Harf. Very good. Why is it a harf?
It's a connecting word.
Again, it connected Yusuf and Yahya together in that sentence.
Yeah.
Or you can say it's a 1-letter word. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's good.
Any questions?
No questions.
Okay, moving on. Now, over the next two sides, which is until the end of the chapter now, it discusses certain signs of an ism, fa'il, and harf. So, okay, in reality, after the depth of Arabic, we should be able to pick up in a sentence when a full paragraph comes. Not at this stage, but in your journey in Arabic, later in your journey, within a month or two. When we get text before us, we should be able to identify, oh, this is an ism, this is a fa'il, this is a harf. And at some stage of our grammar journey, we will be doing that. But at this early stage in the book, it mentions 2-3 main signs that you should look out for in an ism, fa'il, and harf. By the way, in more deeper grammar books, it mentions about 10 signs. But the 2-3 mentioned here are the main signs to look out for. So signs in Arabic is called alamah or alamat. The plural is alamat, signs. So what are the signs? What are the alamatul ism? Alamatul ism means the signs of noun. So what are the signs of noun? So number 1, the signs of noun is it has al before it. So when a word has the word al before it, the chances are it's going to be a ism. The chances are 99% is going to be an ism. I'll give an example. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Now, you can actually open the Quran, Surah Fatiha, and do this yourself. Obviously, it's early part of your journey, grammar journey, so you might not get all the answers right, but it's still okay to do this. Now, in this sentence, there's 2 words which have al at the beginning. Alhamdu. And also al-alameen. So if you were to guess, in fact, an educated answer now, that alhamdu and al-alameen both are, what is it? Is it ism, fa'il, or harf? Which one, Yahya?
Ism.
Ism. Why is it an ism? What's the proof?
The alif lam.
The proof is that it's got alif lam before the word. So the actual word is hamd. The actual word is alameen, but it's got alif lam before it. That's a sign that the word hamd or the word alameen is an ism. Number 1. Sign number 2. Sign number 2 is actually a bit too early in the book, but it's such an important one. That's why it's mentioned at this stage in the book, but we've not studied all this detail yet. The sign is a noun has a particle of jar before it. Now, why is that? That's advanced grammar, which comes later within this book in about chapter 20. But the reason it's mentioned, so you'll say, oh, so why is it mentioned here? We haven't studied it yet. It's true. But because of its importance, it's mentioned here that when you, later in your study, when you come across harful jar, etc., then when you come back to these chapters, now it'll make perfect sense to you, and now you'll realize and understand it much more. But it's such an important sign that it has to be mentioned. Hence, in almost every grammar book, it's mentioned. So sign number 2 is it enters, it has a harful jar before it. I'll give an example. Earlier on the page, in the previous page, I gave an example. دخل محمد في المسجد. It came on the previous page. دخل محمد في المسجد. Muhammad entered the masjid. Now the word, by the way, the word al-masjid is a ism. How do we know that? Because of the alif lam. And to be honest, when I asked you on the previous page, you yourself, without knowing this alif lam rule, you yourself mentioned that it's a noun, it's a ism. Now this word before it, fi, is actually a harf, which you mentioned, but it's a certain type of harf. I again stress we've not covered the types of harf yet. But it's a certain type of harf called harful jar. Now that I've told you that this is a harful jar, then that's a second reason why the word after it is a ism. Because harful jar comes before an ism only. Harful jar only comes before an ism. It never comes before a verb. So look, fi kitabin, in the book. That means the word kitab must be a ism because the fi harful jar has come before it. Is that clear?
Yeah, that's clear.
The third one. It has a tanween over the last letter. In a previous lesson we mentioned, or we learned what tanween was. That was double fatha, double dhamma, or double kasra, which is mentioned here. So whenever a word has a double fatha or double dhamma or double kasra on the last letter, that's a sign it's a noun. For example, kitabun, kitabun. So that's a sign that this word is a noun, nothing but a noun. Any questions, Yahya, regarding signs of nouns?
Nope, no questions, sir.
If you can repeat the overview of the signs of nouns before we move on to the signs of verbs.
So we learned that these are only some of the signs, they're not all the signs, but these are some of the key signs. And so the first one we learned was that it has alif lam before it. So straight away, a lot of us in Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, the sign that the word the alhamdu is a noun, even though we may not know, is that because there's an alif lam before it. So it tells us that it's a noun. The second sign that we learned is that if there's a particle harf jar before it, then the word after it must be a noun. It can't be a verb. And so, for example, we learned in the last page, دخل محمد في المسجد. We know that masjid is a noun because there's the word fi, which is a harf jar before it. Although we don't fully know yet what harf jar is. You mentioned that it's just something that we should learn because it's important later on. And then the third sign was that it has tanween on it, and we learned that in the first lesson. That's those double, so a double fatha, kasra, dhamma. So if any word has that, then we automatically know that it must be a noun.
Very good, mashallah. May Allah increase your knowledge, may Allah put barakah in knowledge. Very good. Any questions?
No questions.
Okay, now moving on to alamatul fi'l. Alamatul fi'l, the signs of verbs. So what are the signs of verbs? Again, in the book, it mentions 3 main signs. First sign, or one sign of verbs, it has the particle qad before it. Qad means verily. So example, 28th para, beginning of 28th para, qad sami'a Allahu. Qad sami'a Allahu. So qad sami'a. So before the word sami'a, qad came. That's a sign that the word sami'a is a verb, is a fi'l. Why is sami'a a verb? What's the proof? What's the sign? The sign is it has qad before it. So if there's qad before it, then that means that word, most probably 99% is going to be a verb. Number 2, it has seen before it. For example, second para, سَيَقُولُ السُّفَهَاءُ. سَيَقُولُ السُّفَهَاءُ. So beginning of second para, you can open the Quran. The word is yaqulu. Yaqulu in Arabic means to say. But there's a sin before it, which translates as very soon they will say. Very soon they will say. Anyway, yaqulu is a verb. Why? Because it's got a sin before it. The example given in the book, sayansuru. Yansuru is a verb because it has a sin before it. Very soon he's helping. Number 3, it has sawfa before it. Sawfa ta'lamun. Sawfa ta'lamun. So ta'lamun, or let's take the singular of that, ta'lamu. Sawfa ta'lamu. Now ta'lamu is a verb. How do I know it's a verb? Because before it there's sawfa, before it there's sawfa. Is that clear?
Ji, those are clear.
I think that was straightforward. Again, a lot of this you learn over time. Some things are just there at the beginning of the book that after 20 lessons we can come back to it and it's all in one place rather than scattered. That's why all these signs are mentioned here, but some of these things we've not studied. So don't feel overwhelmed by it. It's just realizing and knowing where to find the signs later in your journey as well of Arabic grammar. Yep. Yahya, if you can repeat those signs.
So we learned from some of the signs of the verbs was the first one that a word, if it has qad before it, qad sami'a Allah, then the word after qad will always be a verb. The second sign that we learned, which is similar to the third one, is that the verb, it has either the word si, so the sa, or sofa. So sa means very soon and sofa mid soon. It has those words right before it. So sayaqulu sufaha or sofa ta'lamun or something like that. Then we know the next word after that sin or the sofa will always be a verb.
Okay, next. Now, finally, that leaves us with the signs for huruf or the signs for harf, particles. So what's the signs of particles? I think the first sign we've already discussed before. Particles are normally one-lettered or two-lettered. It does say sometimes particles can be three-lettered, but it's very rare. Generally, particles are one or two-lettered. So that's the first sign. I think we've discussed that before. Number 2, the purpose of particles is joining between two nouns or between a noun and a verb. Like, for example, we've already discussed this before as well. But for example, jalasa ala al-kursi. He sat upon the chair. He sat upon the chair. It breaks the meaning down for each one in the notes. He sat upon the chair. So that he sat, that's a verb. Kursi is a chair. And ala is joining the two. So that's a harf. And number 3, we'll read through this one. Generally, if the word cannot be identified as a noun and a verb, then it will be a particle. So really the sign of a particle or harf is, don't check for harf. Check whether it's a noun or a verb. Is it a noun? Yes. Then it won't be a harf. Is it a noun? Nope. Okay, now let's check. Is it a verb? Nope. So if it's not a noun, if it's not a verb, then the chances are it'll be a harf. So that the harf is like the third thing. First, check whether it's a noun or a verb, noun, ism or a fa'al. Those are the main two. If it's not that, then as a third option, it will be a harf. Is that clear here?
Yeah, that's clear.
If you can repeat that.
So from the signs of the harf, the first one was one that was mentioned previously, is that it's only a couple letters. So 1, 2, or around 3 letters. You can usually tell they're small. The second one was that it's something that connects between two words. So between two nouns or between a noun and a verb. So it's that connecting word, as we learned before. And the third one, which was you stressed quite a bit on it, was the idea that the main thing for harf is that usually a lot of times you can either just sense it or you check if it's not a noun or a verb. And if it's not a noun or a verb, then if it's not an ism or a fi'l, then it's going to be a harf.
Very good. Now let's go through the activity. So again, you have to write the answer, but with reasoning. The whole point of this exercise is the reason. We want to know the reason behind it. So write with reasoning if the underlined words are ism, fa'al, or harf. So the words that are underlined, whether they are ism, fa'al, or harf. So let's first look at the example given. أنعم على المؤمنين. By the way, the meanings of these words are given underneath because it's the first time we're coming across many of these words. I will be translating them. You can look at the translation underneath. They might be slightly different to the way I translate. Nevertheless, it's very similar. So let's look at the example that's given. أنعم على المؤمنين. He blessed upon the believers. So Allah has blessed, He blessed upon the believers. So ala is joining, He blessed with the believers. So ala is a harf. Why? It's joining between a verb and a noun. Just a side note here. There's in the book, there's this part which is in between that shouldn't be there. The reason should be basically, the full space should be given to the reason. So you can ignore that. You can write the full reason throughout. Inshallah, in future copies, that will be corrected. Anyway, Rabbul Alameen. Now let's go through this. So Yahya, Rabbul Alameen, number one. Alameen. What type of word is it? Ism, fa'il, or harf?
Ism.
Ism. Why?
Because of the alif lam.
Because it has alif lam before it. Very good. Number two. Sawfa ansuru. Sawfa ansuru. Very soon I will help. Very soon I will help. So ansuru. Is it ism, fa'il, or harf?
Fi'al.
Fa'il. Why? Because
the word sawfa before it.
It has sawfa before it. Now, if everyone can pause at this stage, do the remaining activity yourself. Once you've completed it, then inshallah listen to mine and Yahya's answers. Yep, moving on, Yahya. Number three, قد قام. So قام. Is it ism, fa'il, or harf?
It's a ism. It's a fi'al.
It's a fa'il. Very good. It's a fa'il. Why?
It's got the word qad before it.
Because it has the particle qad before it. Moving on to number five. Kitabun kabirun. Kabirun. The word kabirun.
It would be an ism.
So that, by the way, translates as big book. It's a ism. What's the sign there?
It's got tanween.
It's got tanween, double dhamma. Kabirun. That's how you put tanween. Number six. Dakhala muallimun. Dakhala muallimun. The teacher entered. So muallimun, teacher. Ism, fa'il, or harf?
An ism.
Ism. Why?
Again, it's got tanween at the end.
Got tanween on it. Next, number seven. Safara min Makkata. He traveled from Makkah. He traveled from Makkah. So Makkata, Makkata. So he traveled from Makkah. Ism, fa'il, or harf?
Ism.
Ism. Why? What's the sign?
It's got harfi jar before it.
It has harful jar before it. Well spotted. That was a bit of a tricky one. It's got harful jar before it. Min is from a harful jar. Again, you've not really studied that. What are the huruful jar? So you might not have known this. But now that I've told you that min is from a harful jar, then automatically you know Makkah is ism, because harful jar only enters upon a ism. You will study the huruful jar that come later in the grammar book. Within this book, it comes around chapter 30. The final example, number 8. Sayaqulu. Sayaqulu. Yaqulu. Yep.
It would be a fi'al.
Fi'al, correct. Why? Because it has
seen before it.
It has seen before it. Very good, mashallah. May Allah increase your knowledge. May Allah put barakah in knowledge. May Allah grant us all the ability to learn Arabic grammar well, so that we can serve Quran, Hadith, Fiqh, and Islam at large. Inshallah. Any questions here?
If we can't see if there's these signs and we still can't tell, then how do we what should we do about figuring out if it's an ism or fi'al or harf if none of these signs are present?
So generally with the signs, you will be able to. As I mentioned earlier, there are more signs than the ones we've studied. There's about 10 signs for ism. There's about 10 signs for fi'al. But come on, even after studying all of those signs, let's say there's a unique sentence or unique word when none of the signs are present. So in reality, we're not even supposed to use the signs in the first place. That's just for a help. Really, we're supposed to focus on each word and the meaning. Like in English, we look at the meaning of the words and we work it out. Is it an action word? Is it a name of something? That's the real way, which we've learned in the definition of ism, fa'il, harf. But these signs are just helpers or supporters that help make it easier a lot of times. As you did this activity, you did it very well because of the signs. So the real way is actually to look at the meaning behind it. and the science just aid in that. Yes, if after looking at the meaning, after looking at the science, still you can't identify, then that's something that at that stage, it's either just a very hard and challenging word. It's very unlikely for this to happen. But if it does happen, it's just probably a challenging word, or it's possible that we still need to learn a bit more Arabic language, Arabic grammar. But obviously we can only test that after we've studied a certain amount of Arabic grammar, and then we will open a page from the Quran or from some Arabic book, and we'll go through ism, fa'il, harf, ism, fa'il, harf, ism, fa'il, harf. And if we understand it all, very good. If not, I might be able to give answers. And if I can't give answers as well, then that probably is a sign that that's a very challenging example. Is that clear?
Yeah, that clears it.
Any other questions?
Nope, no other questions.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.